Is it a hippo? The other one.
It's Shrek.
It's like a slug with dog paws and butterfly wings. It's Heimlich from Bugs Life. I'm a beautiful butterfly. Yeah, it's very, very funny. Hey everyone, welcome to the MTG Thoughtcast. Today we have some unbelievably exciting Lorwyn spoilers. The whole set is out. We're going over all the new mechanics, all the best cards, the things we're looking forward to the most, everything that's exciting to us. All of that and more is coming up on today's episode. My name is Joseph. I'm one of your hosts here, and across the screen, or across your ears, he doesn't lore lose, he only lore wins. It is John Kendall. John, how you feeling today, man?
Oh, I don't know about you, but I'm ready for shadow more of these cards in my life. Hey!
Yucky. Disgusting. Go to bed, John.
Oh, come on. That was pretty good,
It was
right?
good. I'll give you that one. It was good. Yeah, we are talking all things Lorwyn today as our spoiler season has just come to a close. A new and shorter spoiler season. I'm excited to talk to you about how you felt about that, John. But before we get into all of the goodness today, we have some upkeeping to take care of. First of all, thank you to everyone who's here, watching, commenting, subscribing. All of the things on YouTube and Spotify help out the channel so much. So a huge thank you to everyone who has been interacting with us lately, our longtime fans as well. Grateful for everybody to be here. If you'd like to be one of our special friends, you can subscribe, you can comment, like. If you really want to dive into all the nitty gritty of everything Thoughtcast, you can join our Discord, linked down below. We're hanging out there all the time. It is the easiest way to get a hold of the two of us. Before we really dive in, though, it would be remiss if we didn't tell you about today's sponsor of the show, Heavy Play. It's our first and only sponsor because we love them so much. They are our favorite gaming accessories. They are magnetic, they're modular, they're great deck boxes, dice boxes, play mats. I love their curve sleeves, everything they do, we are big fans of. And you can go check them out and get 10% off of your order using code MTG Thoughtcast at checkout, or go to heavyplay.com/MTG Thoughtcast. Shout out to those guys over there. Hope you guys get some new accessories in 2026. John, that's all our upkeep for today. You want to take us away with today's episode?
Easy as it does. You got it. So we are here, the next part of our Lorwyn Eclipsed season, I suppose. And as you had mentioned, and we even actually talked about this last week when we covered the pre-con decks, but they started to do a new thing for this year. And I remember that they posted and shared that they're looking for the feedback on how this kind of thing went. But yeah, they did the entire preview season for both the booster set and the commander decks. It only stretched a week. They started the debut on a Monday, and all of the cards in all the galleries and all the showcase variants and things of that nature, it was all done by Friday, which I guess would have been because it would have been the pre-release the week after, and then the set itself launches out into stores the following week. So a completion of the spoiler season 2 weeks prior to the set coming out. And I mean, I don't know. I suppose on one hand, it's nice to not have to have like that. Like, do you know what for me personally is like that weekend anticipation that they used to do? Like when a spoiler season was going on and then we know it would continue on into the week prior, that like drought period you get between Friday evening and Monday morning, like in that 2 week
such a strange
stretch.
time that I'm glad we don't have to deal with anymore. It's really nice.
Yeah, but I guess on the other hand, there is also that feel of like they just needed to compress this down because there is so much happening this year that there's no time for a 2 week thing. I guess it probably also because is like, if they would have done this as a 2 week review or like a preview season, it would have fallen over the holidays, and they didn't want to do that, I think. So
yeah,
I guess
on one hand,
we're going to see. Yeah, go ahead.
On one hand, I was going to say it's a solution to a problem that they've created. So I don't feel like there's much like, oh wow, this is so much better than it used to be for me. I do, however, like that space in between the end of spoiler season and the beginning of the actual set releasing. I feel like it gives you some time to actually digest it. When spoiler season would run up through pre-release weekend, and I would feel like I was going to pre-release with like some kind of kneecapped knowledge of the set because the spoilers had just finished. That felt really stressful. So that in some ways it feels more stressful now because it's so compact and it's like, oh my God, we previewed 100 cards today. On the other hand, it's nice to have a little bit of time after the preview season to really digest and sink our teeth into everything that's going on with the set.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm
indifferent.
I guess I'm in the boat that's kind of indifferent. I'm not sure I would like this kind of templating for every Magic set going forward, but maybe for because we know we've got sets upcoming this year that are going to be on the smaller side. Some of the Universes Beyond ones in specific. I think Ninja Turtles and Hobbit.
Ninja Turtles is going to get previewed in one day.
So maybe a week-long spoiler season for stuff like those, but really allowing the players to dive in fully when it comes to the larger stroke ones, even those, the Magic Universe ones and the Universes Beyond ones. Give them the space to breathe for previews,
totally.
But maybe week-long for the smaller ones. But regardless of how we actually got to where we are, we've got the full set reveal of Lorwyn Eclipsed itself, and just what a beautiful, fantastic return to a basically long forgotten plane, to be perfectly honest.
Forgotten.
We haven't seen Lorwyn in almost 20 years in its full entirety like this. It's cropped up here or there in name dropping over the course of the years, but full-fledged return to the world itself is just beautiful. Is just no other way to describe what all this is. This has been so far some of my favorite artwork and style of cards I have seen almost ever. And this is coming from somebody who had a huge love for Edge of Eternities and the sort of outer space art that we got last year. This set is gorgeous.
Yeah, they really put an emphasis on hand-painted art, which I feel like is a really great, almost countercultural move in the world of AI now, where it'd be really easy for them to just go, yeah, we're gonna cut some budget and do some AI art for Magic, but they've really doubled down with this set on, nope, we are hand-painting all of this. This is traditional art as closely as possible to what was originally done in Lorwyn. Actually, I've seen that's been a big part of their promo for the set. I don't know if you've seen any of the ads for it, where it's not Jesper Eisling, but another very renowned OG Magic artist. How about let's talk about the headliner, the Rebecca Gay version of Bitterbloom Bearer. Did you see the behind the scenes on that one? Oh, this thing is beautiful. For those who don't know what this one is, this is the showcase headliner card of the set. It's obviously in the main booster set available as is, but this artwork version in specific is the X of 500 serialized that you can open as a headliner. It's black for a 1/1 fairy rogue, flash, flying, and at your upkeep, you lose a life and make a 1/1 blue and black fairy creature token with flying. It's Bitter Blossom on a body. On a blossom. It's an even more blossomed Bitter Blossom. It's awesome. So good. So I love that they've been doing that. Like you've mentioned, the art is absolutely unbelievable. The promo rollout for this set has been absolutely legendary. It was the highest viewed trailer for an MTG set. And it was the Jim Henson company, and they've taken that and they've really ran with it, with those two characters now kind of becoming some mascots for Magic as a whole. Set. Which I know you were not a huge fan of it because it was.
I don't want to talk about it. I know I'm I'm in the minority, so I don't even want to bring it up about how I feel about that.
Fair. I loved it, and I love Jim Henson. So that was a really easy one. But yeah, this set looks absolutely phenomenal. Do you want to take us away talking about some of the new mechanics that are in the set?
The first one that they've got covered here is, I guess, what they would call the mainstay mechanic that showcases the Lorwyn side of this. Because, for those who are unfamiliar, what this world is kind of encapsulated by is, A, no humans, and B, the world kind of goes through this, tidal shift of night and day. The daytime brightness version of these characters is called the Land of Lorwyn, and when the darkness envelops all of that, that's called the Land of Shadowmoor. And people have their personalities abilities and their styles of like how they are as a person, they change as they get twisted back and forth between Lorwyn and Shadowmoor. So the sort of like Lorwyn-y side of this is the game mechanic called Vivid. That comes on, I believe it's permanents. There are also some spells that have Vivid as well. But essentially how Vivid reads is that it is an ability that checks as either you're casting the spell or as the permanent, say, enters or whatever, and it checks for the different amount of colors among permanents that you have down in play. So, like, if you control a blue permanent, a white permanent, and a green permanent, your Vivid number would check for, like, 3-ish or so. If you've got all 5, then you've got a 5-color suite right there, right?
Yeah.
One of the coolest examples is actually one of the best reprints that is in the main booster set itself, Bloom Tender.
Yeah, dude, standard reprinted Bloom Tender is crazy.
Upshifted to Mythic from the last time it was in Lorwyn.
Smart.
Granted, I get
smart.
that, but it's a powerful card. Most people know what Bloom Tender is, but it kind of retroactively got added Vivid onto its keywords here.
Dude, I love these flavored keywords that they've been doing, where it's like, yeah, they've taken something that just always had this tap for each color among permanents you control, add a mana of that color, and just flavor keyworded it into Vivid. I just feel like that helps you remember what those abilities do a lot better. Yeah, man, what a great reprint, what a great card, and what a really cool ability.
Yep. There was some other ones that were very cool. One of the other legendary creatures has this really cool one with Vivid, the Sonar Innovative First Year. The 2 and 2 hybrids of blue and red mana to cast is a legendary goblin sorcerer, 2/4, and has Vivid. At your first main phase, you reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X non-land cards, where X is the number of colors among permanents you control. So obviously, if you only control him, that's going to be 2. But if you play this into a deck with multiple colors, you can be exiling like up to 5 cards off the top of your library, which is sick.
Hefty. Yeah, it's like loot. Like the old loot that checked of different card types.
For each of those colors, you may exile a card of that color from among the revealed cards, and then you shuffle, and you can cast the exiled cards this turn. So sometimes giving you a fresh hand every main phase equal to the colors you have in play.
And you just need a singular 5-color creature in play for it to track all 5. What I love about Vivid is it's so digestible because it's going to be somewhere between 1 and 5, that X always, because there's only 5 colors.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be pretty rare. I don't think you'd ever be in a scenario outside of some extenuating circumstance where your Vivid is equal to 0. I feel like you're always going to have at least 1 there because the thing you're doing has a color with it, especially the ones on permanents. But like at max, it's 5. That's so easy to keep track of. That's so easy to digest. It's a really tasteful and well done ability.
Yep, and it plays very well in this set as well because as described on cards like Sonar, there's others in the main set as well that include hybrid in the casting costs on the permanents themselves. And when those permanents are down in play, they obviously, like other traditional gold multicolor cards, they count as each of those colors. So you've got some very interesting, especially for like limited play, you've got some very interesting deck building ideas where you could be building like, say, green, blue, I think is the color combination that cares a lot about Vivid, but you could be playing off-color hybrid cards like something that's, say, Dimir or something that's Gruul, and then you've got like Vivid up to like 4+ colors.
Definitely. This is a great opportunity for us to talk about TAM, Mindful First Year. This is it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for a lot of the cards in this set, but TAM might be one of the more exciting ones because it's so close to like a Mother of Runes. TAM Mindful First Year is a generic mana and then a hybrid Simic, so either a green or a blue. So 2 mana, 2/2. It's a legendary Gorgon wizard. We're getting more Gorgons, John. Finally.
Woohoo!
Each other creature you control has hexproof from each of its colors. So she does not track off of herself, but like if you have another Simic creature in play, it would have hexproof from green and from blue. But then her ability is tap target creature you control becomes all colors until the end of turn. So it just turns a single colored creature into a 5-color creature, which gives it hexproof from all colors. This is so fire.
Yeah, I don't want to dive too much into this one right now just because I've got a brew coming up for our next week episode that I'm going to go into TAM a little bit more. But suffice to say, I'm right alongside there with you. Just the ability that it offers of being able to have this like Wooburg style deck minimized down to just Simic. Mwah, chef's kiss.
Yes, really, really sick. Do you subscribe to any of the theories that this is Jason Vraska's daughter?
That would make no sense whatsoever. This is like the timeline on that would be like way too short.
Okay, timelines. Do you think in the world of the Omen paths we care about timeline?
Well, why? What does this have to do with either Jace or Vraska?
The story seems to be pointing to the fact that she has a very mysterious past and has these kind of hidden mentors. There's a lot of theories that she might have been basically a conjuration from Jace of their daughter. Rather than them physically having a kid, they've kind of created Tam together as this like all-powerful being.
They sort of did it like Minecraft style, where a couple of villagers just kind of butt their heads together, then boop.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Little one pops
Anyway,
out.
she is going to be a major player in the story going forward, as we've seen her in some of the promo for Strixhaven, obviously, which is where she comes from, or at least this version of her comes from. But there was something about Chandelar as well. Like there's Anyway, she's a very mysterious character that I'm excited to see where she goes in the story, and is also a really great card that I'm excited to put in different decks.
Very interesting.
You mentioned that there is more hybrid in this set as well, and this brings us neatly into both hybrid mana and evoke with this cycle of evoke mythic elemental incarnations.
So my favorite of the ones that are here is called Vibrance. It was one of the ones that was shown off later in preview season, other side from the ones that were part of the early previews. They all share, the 5 of them, they all share this ability that they have a casting cost and then an evoke cost for 2 hybrids of the color that it shares. So in the case of Vibrance, it can evoke for 2 hybrids of Gruul, and then it also regularly casts for 3 and 2 hybrids of Gruul. And then they all share this philosophy that as they enter play, however much of each of those mana you spent to cast it is what ability triggers. So for Vibrance, as it enters, if red was spent to cast it, this creature deals 3 damage to any target. Awesome. Lightning bolt or like a lightning strike on a stick. And when it enters, if green was spent to cast it, you search your library for a land.
Yeah.
Reveal it, put into your hand, and then shuffle, and you gain 2 life.
This is a cheap tutor for a land. 2 green mana to go and fetch any land.
Yeah, I mean, like, commander decks, like, we're still playing things like both Sylvan Scrying and Lightning Strike. You know, certain burn decks love playing stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
I guess, it's like 1 mana up on, say, Lightning Bolt, but, both of those abilities are great. This is, and of any color that's going to be able to ramp to get up to the 5 needed to cast this, imagine going 5, being able to go red, green into this, you bolt down somebody else's mana dork, and you, in turn, are going to get your own land. That almost is to me. That almost to me is like one of the banned cards, Sylvan Primordial, that like when it enters, it blows up non-creature permanents of your opponents, and you get a land for each one blown up that way. It's like, it reads like that to me.
I mean, it's just a great card, let alone the fact that it leaves behind a 4/4 body after it's done all of that. That is nothing to bark at, I would say. But my favorite thing about Vibrance here is the variation between its main print art and its extended art. Main print is this like beautiful dog that's got like leaves for paws, and then is it a hippo? The other one,
it's Shrek.
It's like a slug with dog paws and butterfly wings. Dude, it's Heimlich from Bugs Life. I'm a beautiful butterfly. Yeah, it's very, very funny. My favorite of this cycle is Emptiness, which is the Orzhov one. So it's 4 generic, and then hybrid white black, with it evokes for hybrid white black. So 2 mana to evoke it, 6 mana to cast it total. When this creature enters, if white was spent to cast it, return target creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's a reanimator spell. And then if black was spent to cast it, put 3 -1/-1 counters on up to 1 target creature. Yeek. So it kind of is similar, where it's like a piece of removal and a reanimator piece on a stick that if you pay 6 for it and you can get that white, black into its generic cost, then you've got reanimator and remove something. But then it also,
and the body itself, by the way. Let's not forget about all that. Yeah, yes. If you cast these creatures for their full mana value, you're getting its 2 pips of value that it does, plus the body itself.
Totally. I'd be happy paying white to like helping hand something. I'm also really happy playing black to put 3 -1/-1 counters on a creature, because that kills indestructible creatures.
Yes, it does.
Love removal attached to that. It also does one of my favorite things, which is sneaks around cascade spells. So it's a piece of interaction and reanimator that cannot be cascaded into unless you're cascading 6 or greater, which is pretty unlikely. So being able to have early game plays while still being able to sneak past those on a cascade run is absolute peak magic, I would say.
Excellent. It's very interesting that you bring up then about that one, Emptiness, being one of your particular favorites, because that one is a great segue into talking about the other mainstay mechanic of the set, the more focused Shadowmoor version, Blight.
Ooh, yeah, baby.
So doing Blight means that it's either a trigger that you have to do or it's something that you force your opponent to do. But essentially, Blight has a number associated to it. And let's go on the hypothetical. It's like doing a Blight that say you have to do. If you have to do Blight and a number, you choose a creature of yours, and that creature gets that many of -1/-1 counters. And in the case of some other cards that say that your opponent has to Blight, they have to choose a creature of theirs and put that amount of -1/-1 counters on the creature, because negative counters was the other huge focus point of the original Lorwyn block. A lot of cards cared about, like, say, the old mechanic Persist, they would come back with negative counters. Other creatures who cared about removing negative counters from themselves for benefits. There was also Wither a lot in the main set, that creatures dealt damage to each other in the form of negative counters. So, like, of course it was going to come back for this set, but it's very interesting, the kind of new, like, mechanic that's tied to it, like both cards of yours that care about the negative counters being placed on it, or it being used as removal against your opponent's creatures.
Yeah, as an example, I'll bring up Deathrite Shaman. Dawnhand Dissident. This is a single black mana for a 1/2 elf warlock that has 2 abilities. It can tap Blight 1 to Surveil 1. So you put a -1/-1 counter on a creature you control to Surveil 1, or tap to Blight 2 and exile target card from a graveyard. And then during your turn, you can cast creature spells from among cards you own exiled with this creature by removing 3 counters from among creatures you control, in addition to paying their other costs. So this snipes what I love about this card. There's utility of being able to save this until someone tries to reanimate something, and then you can just snag it and just exile it for Blight 2. But what you want to be doing with this is exiling your own creatures from graveyard to kind of put underneath him, and then it removes counters to play those cards again, not with finality counters, not with anything else. You just get access to play creatures that you own from among exiled cards. So as you, let's just say you played your Stitcher Supplier, it's died, you've exiled it from the graveyard by blighting 2. It's an excellent card here because you could blight 1 to surveil and kill it. Then you blight 2, exile 8 from the graveyard. On the following turn, you pay a single black mana, remove those 3 -1/-1 counters, get this thing back, mill 3 more cards. So he just creates this engine of filling your graveyard and putting -1/-1 counters across creatures you control, while also refreshing those by completing the end of its ability. So it is, for a single mana on a 1/2 with a relevant creature type, this card is cracked, dude.
Sure. The only issue you obviously have to build around is, like you had mentioned about, like, you remove all the counters from a thing. Dawnhand itself can only hold 2 negative counters on itself before it would kill itself.
Totally.
So the trick of Blight is having like a high enough toughness creature to hold enough of the negative counters, because you obviously don't just want to keep killing 1-drops and 2-drops to its own Blight counters, because then you won't have any counters to remove. So it's a neat, intricate balance of, like, you need to have something with a high toughness that you want to hold the counters onto, and then other cards that you're willing to kill to the ability, and it's like it's a neat little like dance.
It weirdly plays like energy does, because it's like resource management, except rather than it being counters that on you, it's counters on creatures you control. So it's trying to, like you said, trying to find good creatures. There's also plenty in this set that just come into play with a ton of -1/-1 counters on them. They're like overstated. Lockmare is one of them. This is one I was going to talk about later anyway. Lockmare is a 2-mana 4/5 horse serpent. It's 1 and a blue. It enters with 3 -1/-1 counters on it. So it enters as a 1/2, and then with the 3 -1/-1 counters on it. And then its own abilities are 1 and a blue, remove a counter from this creature, draw a card. So this, obviously you want to keep refreshing the counters on this. Or 2 and a blue, remove 2 counters from this creature, tap target creature, put a stun counter on it. So you can really fly through those -1/-1 counters on this quickly, and it becomes this overstated horse beater.
Amazing. That's a really cool one. I think I'm kind of the opposite of you. I think it's really cool when you can utilize playing around with doing blight on your own creatures. I like the ones that force your opponent to do blighting, something on like High Perfect Morkant.
I knew it.
This one is stupid, dude. Are you kidding me?
I cannot wrap my head around the fact that they've printed this card. This is the best elf commander, right?
2 black and a green, legendary elf nobles of 4/4. When it or another elf you control enters, each opponent blights 1, and then an activated ability of tapping 3 untapped elves you control to proliferate, activate only as a sorcery. Hey, do you see token or non-token on there for the elves at all?
No, you're just gonna make a billion elves, and your opponents, as long as High Perfect Morkant is down, your opponents just don't get the chance to play creatures.
It's just like, it's resonating with me so much, just like in the same vein of like Doomwake Giant did, where it's like every time Constellation would trigger, it gave your whole opponent's board like a negative sweep. It feels very similar to that. And like all it takes with High Perfect here is to just like get a negative counter, or any kind of counter really, across anything your opponents control. And then you just go with that tap ability, which, by the way, abilities like this that say it just taps an untapped amount of certain permanents, those permanents don't have to have haste or anything like that. You could tap High Perfect Morkant and say like 2 other elf tokens the moment she comes into play. That's bizarre and dumb to me. It's so silly, like how fast and how out of control an elf deck could be with her at the helm.
Yeah, it's just not, there's no downside to this. It's a 4-mana 4/4, so it's like a well-statted body. It immediately procs itself when it comes in, because it's her or any other elf coming in. And then by the time that you've played her, you probably have a few Lanoir elves. You've got some elf tokens down. Maybe you've got your Dwynen's Elite, things like that have made a bunch of tokens. So like it comes in and you can just immediately proliferate those counters down, let alone that's just proliferate. Like if you're playing any of the Tyvars or any of the good elf planeswalkers, any of your not Titania, what's her name? Nissa. Any of your Nissas that go and get forests, things like that. How did I remember Titania but not Nissa? You can just proliferate the counters on there. If you throw any poison into the deck, that then becomes.
I was gonna say, how many elves have Infect? Right? People still playing Glistener Elf?
I don't know if people are playing it, but people will certainly play Glistener Elf in this deck. People are definitely playing Overwhelming Stampede. It's not Overwhelming Stampede. Which one is it? Triumph of the Horde.
Triumph of the Horde.
That gives that one is it wins the game on its own, but in the chance that it doesn't, you now have the proliferate to really make sure that it happens. But even then, there's there's a card from like March of the Machine that is just, it's like 2 and a black. Each opponent discards 2 cards and gets a poison counter. There was so many things from that block, that like Phyrexia block, that just give poison counters on instants and sorceries that you could just throw in here, and then as you're proliferating all these blight counters, your opponent's creatures are dying and the poison counters continue to rise. It's just so good.
I love it. Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, absolutely wild, dude. Well, I'll take us, since we're talking about elves, we might as well talk about elementals as kind of the next major player in the set. Elementals is it's a 5-color tribe that has a bunch of really great cards across all of it. But there is actually this is a combo. We can talk about elementals and we can talk about Behold as another mechanic here. I'm going to talk about Champion of the Path here, and then we can dive into everything that it does. But Champion of the Path is 3 and red for a 7/3 elemental sorcerer. Also sorcerer, new supported creature type. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you behold an elemental and exile it. So Behold is from the Dragons of Tarkir set, but they've kind of updated it a little bit for this one. So it's Behold and Exile. It's basically a way of them fixing their champion mechanic from original Lorwyn, which required you to have so like in this case, it would have required you to have an elemental in play, and you would have exiled it as it enters. Otherwise, you sacrifice the creature. So with this one, they've just made it an additional cost to Behold, which is either revealing it from your hand or having an elemental in play, and then you exile whichever one you choose to do. From hand is significantly better than from play, so this makes it a much easier way to cast these really strong creatures. And then he says, whenever another elemental you control enters, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. And then when this creature leaves the battlefield, return the exiled card to its owner's hand. So whatever you beheld underneath it, as the champion dies, it returns to your hand. So it's a way to refresh an ETB on an elemental as well. If you've already like fired off something, you play this, you champion it from play. As it dies, goes back to your hand, you can recast it and get the ETB again. Really cool stuff. But man, that ability of elementals just shoot each opponent for their power as they come in. It's a better version of Warstorm Surge for elementals decks because it hits each opponent, not target. Typically these abilities are like target opponent takes damage, so it kind of grants like pseudo haste. But this grants pseudo haste and hits everything. Really, really sick. And again, it also does not say non-token. So if you're playing like the Omnath, Locus of Red, you get the landfall. You make like a 3/3 elemental, 5/5 elemental, 5/5 elemental that just shoots the table for 5 as it enters. And then if any of them die, shoot the table for 3 as they die. Like this is a really, really good card across a couple of different strategies.
I like what's really cool about the Behold mechanic specifically, that this one, like, you know, it obviously also cares about you stuff have done in play. It, does not care if the shared thing that it's looking to behold is a token or not. So if you really don't want to lose a resource from your hand or from in play, even if these ones who say that with this card itself, when it leaves, you get the exiled card back, if you don't want to risk that like being taken away from you long term, you can just chuck a token into it. But what also is very interesting is that the mechanic itself does not say creature card. You can throw away anything to it, like specifically some of these new cards in the set that are the Kindred, right? Yeah. There's a really cool mana rock in this set called Furdok Core. It's a manalith. It's a 3-mana Kindred artifact shapeshifter. The artifact has Changeling, and then it does the manalith thing of making a mana of any color, and then a 4-mana activated ability to become a 4/4 artifact creature until end of turn. So you can pitch a card like this into the Behold cost because it's not a creature, but it still says it has all the creature types. And that kind of same philosophy is true of all of the changelings we have in this set here. All of the ones who say on them that they are all creature types. Any single one of them is a valid target to pitch away to these champion cards, either if you already have them in play or if they're just sitting in your hand.
I just realized that it's called Champion of the Path, and the cycle is all champions because they have the fixed champion ability. Good on Wizards for that. That's cool. We also have reprinted in the set is Crib Swap and Nameless Inversion, both really, really strong and powerful kindred sorceries and instants. I think they're both instants, actually. That are both changelings, so you can just fire those things under whichever champion you so please. While we're talking about changelings, we might as well dive straight into that, shall we? There's changelings is a big ability here, which is shapeshifter creatures that have the ability changeling, which just means at all times in whatever zone they're in, they have all creature types. This allows you, especially in limited, it really allows you to dive deep into certain kindred strategies, while being able to pick creatures that aren't necessarily share a type with your like lords and your champions and things. My favorite one from this set, dude, it's so goofy, and this line of text really gets me going. It's the Mutable Explorer. I also believe this is a buy a box promo, but it is 2 and a green for a 1/1 changeling shapeshifter. So it's just a 1/1 all creature types. When it enters, you create a tapped Mutavault token. Mutavault is a land that taps for colorless or has generic mana. 1 generic mana, it becomes a 2/2 with changeling. Mutavault is one of my favorite cards of all time. I absolutely love Mutavault. It was a menace in the standard that I started playing in. And it's just been a long time favorite of mine. You know I love manlands. So this Mutable Explorer that has a blinkable effect to continue to make more and more Mutavaults on the field. I'm in on this one, dude. It's so cool and so good.
No, that is really sick. Just a body that gives you a free land down into play. It's almost reminiscent to the sort of like conjure cards that you see on Arena, where it's just like, here's a Mutavault for you, enjoy.
Yes, this could have been an Arena, like an alchemy card that said conjure a Mutavault into play, and they've basically templated it that way. I love that they're doing that lately, where they can just make tokens of actual cards. This also means in the set, we're going to get token Mutavault, and that's going to be really confusing to some people.
By my understanding, I saw a little bit of like some pre-release stuff with the Mutavault token is a bit more on the rare side. So like if you see one, scoop it.
Scoop it for sure, because it's a token of an actual card. That's awesome.
I talked to you about my favorite Changeling Synergy card, who doesn't necessarily have Changeling on it per se, but it's real sick.
Yeah.
I think, and this will also tie into one of the other things that we want to talk about as far as the set. Let's talk about Oko.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
so
Oko.
Okay, Oko. Let's go, Oko. So Oko is back in this set. His home plane, apparently, by the way. He's from born Lorwyn. And raised on Lorwyn. He's from Lorwyn, it turns out.
That's why he's so hot.
Yeah, Oko, Lorwyn's Liege, is the one you cast on the front side. He casts for 2 and a blue. We'll come back to this ability here, but all of these double phase cards have this cool ability on them that at your main phase, you can pay a colored cost, and if you do, it transforms to its other side. So Oko on his front side here, the first one he says, is that comes in at 3 loyalty and a +2 that up to 1 target creature gains all creature types, and that does not go away. You turn whatever you want into a changeling, and that's so cool.
It's awesome.
He has another +1 that says a target creature gets -2/-0 until your next turn, so that's cool. You can shrink an attacker that's potentially coming at you. If you pay his main phase cost of green to transform him, he transforms into Oko Shadowmoor Scion, who, again, has a main phase trigger if you pay blue and flip him back to his other side. A -1 to mill 3 cards, and you may put a permanent card from among them into your hand. A -3 to create 2 3/3 green elk creature tokens. We had to get our elk boy in here somewhere, so here they are. And then a -6 of you choose a creature type, and you get an emblem with creatures you control of the chosen type get +3/+3, vigilance, and hexproof.
Amazing. Because you probably are choosing elk with this, to be honest, because then from that point forward, you can continue to make your 3/3 green elks, but then whatever you've made all creature types on the front side now gets the elk +3/+3 and vigilance and hexproof as well. What a neat card, man. I love these transform cards. I love that they've managed to do like day night without having to keep track of anything, because it's just do you want to flip this over?
There's an alternate timeline where they decided to do Lorwyn with the return of Daybound Nightbound, and I'm so glad they didn't.
It would have been flavorful and it would have been cool, but I'm on record. I like day night. I don't think it's that hard.
You do?
I do. I love it. I don't think it's that hard to keep track of. It's just another resource management to think of. The only time it gets really fuzzy is when you start introducing other things that are daybound or nightbound that flip the whatever. We're not talking about that today. We're talking about Oko. I have a question about Oko. Does he canonically planeswalk with baby oil everywhere he goes so that his washboard abs stay glistening constantly? Because don't get me wrong, if I looked like that, I would sit at that exact angle, that oiled up as well, all the time. But man, it's just constant in your face.
Did you see over the Christmas season when they were doing that like daily countdown of like deals? They made an Oko avatar that was like he had like a beanie hat and a scarf, but was still like completely open chested.
Bro does not care about how cold it is, and I totally get it. Mad respect. He's got pretty privilege to me. That's amazing, dude. Some of the other flip creatures are very good as well. Brigid, I think, is one of the better of them. Let me pull her up real quick. Because there's a cycle of 5 creatures that do this as well, that have the like pay a green or pay a white in Brigid's case to flip between sides on your beginning of your first main phase. So Brigid is Brigid Klaken's Heart. She is 2 and a white for a 3/2 that enters and makes a 1/1 green and white Kithkin. One of our only pieces of Kithkin support from this set, which was very interesting. Kithkin and fairies really got kind of snubbed in this
Tree
set.
folk as well.
Tree folk as well. Yeah, there was like a handful of things. Like I think there were 6 fairies in the entire set. Just they decided to put a halt on that. Anyway, she enters, she makes a green and white Kithkin, so it's really cool. It's 4 power across 2 bodies for 3 mana. And then at the beginning of your first main phase, you may pay a green, transform Brigid into Brigand Down's Mind. This is the Shadowmoor side that just has tap, add X green or X white, where X is the number of other creatures you control. She just flips into a Gaia's Cradle on the backside. Which is very strong, obviously. And then if you want to continue building your board, you can always pay a white, flip her back over, because it's whenever she enters or transforms into Brigid, you make the 1/1 green and white Kithkin. So you could just kind of keep going back and forth between the 2 of these, make a creature, transform, add a bunch of mana, next turn, flip her back over, make another creature, next turn, flip her back over. What I love is the long game kind of grindy value engines that these flip cards create.
I guess, yeah, Brigid is kind of interesting. I hadn't thought about this on and now just kind of evaluating card and looking at it. She's one of the only few that when you hit that first main phase trigger to transform her, she can pay for that herself. I didn't even notice that.
You're so right.
She can make white. That's
really
probably
strong.
why she can. Yeah, so she could tap herself to be able to pay the main phase cost to transform him.
Yeah.
Or her, I should say. That mana will still retain if you have any extra floating because you're already in your main phase. And she's now transforming to the other side that then makes you another token to go.
Awesome.
So yeah, you're absolutely right. I think this might be one of the most powerful one. But of course, another tally mark box on the, we love Gaia's Cradle so much. Let's make another Gaia's Cradle.
Dude,
like
one day.
Wizards, please.
One day we'll get Sarah Sanctum.
I beg you, Wizards.
Please give us some enchantment support, Wizards, please. The only one we've gotten is the one on the creature. The whatever it's called. You know what it is.
That one.
One. It's here.
That one. Sanctum
sorry, audio only listeners. We're bad at remembering things. Okay, I think that we've gone over most of the mechanics of the set. Is there any other really exciting creatures or exciting cards, reprints, anything as we kind of land the planes on the episode today?
Brother, tell me what you think about Mirror Form. Tell me why it's a bad mythic. I want to hate this, but I think this is the silliest card in the set.
I kind of love it, dude. I'm going to be honest. Mirror Form.
4 and double.
Go for it.
4 and double blue for an instant. Each non-land permanent you control becomes a copy of target non-aura permanent.
Period. Yes, not until end of turn. This is just everything that's not lands you control becomes copies of something. I think that's crazy.
Which can be lands. You can turn all your tokens into lands.
Yeah. I love that. That's even better.
Says as long as it's not an aura, just because it has to like play around with the actual mechanics, because you can't have a non-attached aura in play. But like you could turn everything on your board into a land. You can turn everything into an artifact. You can turn all creatures into another creature you've already got. You know what I mean?
Dude, and that's the thing. It does not say a non-aura permanent that you control. At instant speed, you can just pick the best permanent on the board, and everything you control permanently becomes a copy of it. Yeah, I think this is ridiculous. I don't quite understand the connotations.
Imagine being a tokens deck and you at instant speed transform all of your tokens into Terror of the Peaks.
Bro, imagine dragons. You just did.
Just do it.
You just did, dude.
I don't know, like this. It's the pit traps of like imposter syndrome again from Spider-Man. It's just like it's a big stupid blue card that is probably gonna sit in a bulk bin until somebody figures out how to break it, and I'm all here for it.
I'm ready for Seth, better known as Saffron Olive, to take us to Mirror Town.
I do actually, related to probably cards that are bad, knowing about your favorite things of cards. Tell me what you think about Meek Attack.
Oh, I love Meek Attack, dude. So Meek Attack is 2 and a red for an enchantment. It's a mythic, and it has an ability of 1 and a red. You may put a creature card with total power and toughness 5 or less from your hand onto the battlefield. Creature gains haste at the beginning of the next end step. Sacrifice that creature. I love sneak attack effects. Meek Attack is so fascinating to me because I think they tried to make it fair, but it's inherently an unfair ability. Because you can just throw like Threefold Thunderhulk into play, and just because it's a 0/0, so it just like comes in, makes all the gnomes, and then you can immediately attack with it and make a bunch more gnomes, and then it sacrifices itself. So I feel like that's the floor of something like this, is just throwing in really, really powerful 0/0 creatures that enter, like Hexavus and Pentavus and all of these, Triskelion style like 0/0s that come in with counters. Really crazy card. I think this will probably stay in the $10 to $15 range because the decks that want it want nothing else than this, to be able to just sneak stuff into play, even though it's like little. Anything like this works really well with Kiki Jiki. You can just sneak a Kiki Jiki into play. More like Sneaky Jiki. You know what I'm saying?
I was just about to say that. Dang it!
Yeah, because Kiki Jiki's a 2/2. So, like, getting this in, it's total power and toughness 5 or less, and then immediately making copies of things. This actually works. You could sneak in Combat Celebrant and Kiki Jiki on the same turn. So this is turn 4 win with no extra ramp if you go Meek Attack, and then on turn 4, Kiki Jiki and your Combat Celebrant, and that's immediately winning the game. Because it's a 4/1, that's total 5 or less. So the connotations for this card are absolutely insane, and I'm a huge fan of it. Thank you for asking, John. I respect that you understand what I'm here to do in Magic, which is commit war crimes, and Meek Attack is excellent at that. Let me ask you about a card. Actually, I've got 2 of them for you. They're both white that I would like your thoughts on. Morningtide's Light. This is 3 and a white for a sorcery that says exile any number of target creatures. At the beginning of the next end step, return those cards to the battlefield tapped under their owner's control until your next turn. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. Exile Morningtide's Light.
It's cool. I mean, so like at its, I guess where my issue I think with this card is that it reads in the boat like Teferi's Protection, but is a sorcery. So it's like you have to look at it more as it's a mass blink spell that happens to keep you safe for a rotation. I think it's fine. I think it's just fine.
It does also remove all token creatures from the battlefield.
That is true, yeah, because like that's one of the big things that is like an up on this as well. Like say compared to this something like say Eerie Interlude, that card is only able to blink the creatures you control.
Yeah.
Morningtide's Light, yes, even though at sorcery speed, you do have the option to blink out anything that anybody controls. So like, yeah, like you said, tokens can go away. Anything that like has a detrimental ETB that like say an opponent tried to bypass or something to that degree. If something has gotten stolen, right? Because it says you blink any of them back and then they return to their owner's control. So good against theft, and then obviously keeps you alive for a turn rotation because it says it prevents all damage to you. Like, so it's neat. I think I like it. Like, at 4 mana at sorcery speed, maybe seems a little but if you look at it in regard of this is not a Teferi's Protection, this is a mass blink spell, I think this is pretty cool. I like it a lot.
I'm a big fan of it. I like effects that keep you safe for an entire turn rotation. I've cast Teferi's Protection at sorcery speed before. It's just as good on your turn as it is in response to something because of that phasing out. So Morningtide's Light feels a little bit like that, but yeah, being able to reuse any of your ETBs while also wiping all tokens. If anybody's like playing a +1/+1 counters deck and you want to reset counters on something, you can just do that. If they're playing an auras deck, you can just wipe all the auras off a creature by blinking it. And then, yeah, like there's certain things that people just don't want to leave and then come back on their battlefield, and you can kind of mess it up. I like that they all come back in tapped as well, because it really screws over the person to your right. Because you blink everything out back in, everything comes back in tapped, and then you pass to the person on your left, and you say, I can't take damage, but they're open, so go for it. So it's a little taunt from the Rampartsy in that way as well. All of these cards are some of my favorites of all time. So I'm definitely in on Morningtide's Light. I'd like to find a good spot for it. The last one I wanted to talk about and really bring up to you is Winnowing. Have you seen this one, John?
Yeah. This is
another white sorcery. So it's 4 white for a sorcery with Convoke. So you can tap creatures to pay for generic or their colored mana costs in Winnowing.
Which, as a sidebar, is also in the set as well. Convoke is a theme across multiple cards.
For sure. So, for each player, you choose a creature that player controls. Then each player sacrifices all other creatures they control that don't share a creature type with the chosen creature they control.
I don't love this.
Okay.
Like, it just seems kind of expensive for that kind of ability where they have a potential, because like let's pair this off with something like, say, Tragic Arrogance, right? That you just straight up pick one thing of theirs and everything else goes away. It does not matter what other shared creature types are there or anything like that. So now if you go to cast a card like this, yes, obviously there is benefit to a card like this having Convoke, meaning it retroactively could come down or be cast cheaper than something than, say, Tragic Arrogance. That is a draw to it. I understand that. But I don't know. Sometimes the thing that you are picking that you would want to make sure, like, the card you are picking to make sure that everything else that they control dies, like there could be some corner case scenario where, like, say, that rando token they have just happens to also be the same creature type as their commander. So it doesn't matter which of the two you end up picking. They could have something else. Like, I don't know. I think there's scenarios where a card like this is bad. It obviously can be very good in a deck where you're utilizing the Convoke aspect of this, that like a Wrath of this capacity can happen much faster than most people would be anticipating or building for. But yeah, I don't know. I don't love it, to be honest.
I feel the exact opposite. I think this card is crazy because it gives you the choice. So you're choosing the least beneficial creature type among creatures that your opponents control. And then for yourself, it obviously, like, it's niche and it's narrow because you're either playing this in a Kindred deck or you're playing this in a deck with a Changeling in it. Because if you choose a Changeling for yourself, it's asymmetrical. You wipe no creatures of your own because it's just the Changeling would share creatures types with everything. I'm looking at this for my Volo Folk Hero deck, which is a humans deck that certainly wants an asymmetrical board wipe. Where no matter what I pick, I'm going to keep everything because I only play humans and changelings in that deck. So, like, I'm touching none of my creatures at all on a quote-unquote free board wipe. Then I get to choose and say, okay, you have a random construct, so I'm going to choose that, and you have to sacrifice everything else. And you have a random citizen token that I'm now going to choose. This also, man, this works super well with things like the legitimate business person one, the witness protection, honest work, things like that change creature types of creatures. Where, like, if you do that to a commander and then choose this with Winnowing, it now is like, you probably don't have any other citizens in play. So then now it just wipes the rest of your board, and I get to keep everything of mine on a sorcery that basically is free. Dude, I think this is ridiculous. It reminds me less of something like Tragic Arrogance and more of something like Everything Comes to Dust, which was from the Doctor Who set, which was kind of similar, where I think it maybe had Improvise or Convoke or something. And then you kind of choose creature types and it does some exile stuff, but it also gets rid of all artifacts and enchantments. This is just like, I'm going to keep my board and try to really screw you guys over across the rest of your board. This is kind of my early pick for, I think people will misread this card and don't realize how powerful it is in certain strategies.
This guy is doing that right now.
Yes. Yeah, it's
I guess we'll see.
It's confusingly worded for sure, because it's like you choose the creature and then those opponents have to sacrifice other things that don't share a type with that creature. So this will require some explanation, but it basically, I think every time you cast it, you're going to be up cards on it. And it can come down for free. So I think that's well worth noting as well. If you're playing a token strategy, this is such a good card in any tokens deck where you're just making a ton of like heir apparents maybe, where you're going, I'm making a ton of rabbits. By your second or your third rabbit, you can play this for free and then have an asymmetrical board wipe.
Awesome.
Pretty crazy.
No, that's cool. I still think it's niche, but you make a good case for it.
Thanks, man.
For the last card I want to talk about from this set, it's got no real correlation to any of these mechanics or themes that we talked about, but can I talk to you about one of my favorite looking types of cards that I definitely want to try to grab because I think it's stupid, silly, and fun?
Tell me.
It's Lava Leaper.
Ooh.
3 and a red for a 4/4 elemental. All creatures have haste.
So dumb.
And when a player taps a basic land for mana, that player adds 1 mana of any type that land produced.
I am so glad that they're giving basic lands some more utility, because there's currently no reason to run them.
Yo, dude, I mean, what's not to love about this? It's an on-rate card. It's a 4-mana 4/4, gives itself haste, and then, double mana for everybody.
Yes.
That's so good. Like, you can't convince me that cards like Mana Flare are bad for Commander. I love them. Are you kidding me?
But dude, this is Mana Flare for basic lands. So like, if you're playing against somebody's 5-color slop deck, they get no benefit from this, and your like mono red or your Boros deck is thriving.
I love this stupid little thing. This actually, the showcase art on this one in specific is one of my favorites of the set. I just think it's so fun, of just like this elemental looking, like jackalope looking thing bounding its way through the lava fields. It's so cute.
Yeah,
I love it a lot. I'm very excited to give this one a go in, like, say, my Animar deck, which plays a lot of basics in it.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I play mono red so much that this is just perfect for me. I'm only playing basic mountains in that deck. So sweet, dude. Well, last one, another easy one to talk about. Speaking of things that we love to do, have you seen Twilight Diviner? This creature is ridiculous, John. Twilight Diviner is 2 and a black for a 3/3 elf cleric. When it enters, you surveil 2, and then whenever one or more other creatures you control enter, if they entered or were cast from the graveyard, create a token that's a copy of one of them. This ability triggers only once each turn. This just copies reanimated creatures as they come in and fills your graveyard, and it's a 3/3 for 3.
If there's anything I know that you love is some good graveyard value. What, freaking Kelpie guy? Or no, River Kelpie is one of your favorites. So just like rewarding you from getting your stuff back from the graveyard. Awesome.
This makes me want to rebuild my Slimefoot and Squee deck as my reanimator, because if you bring this back with Slimefoot and Squee, you can immediately sacrifice the actual Slimefoot and Squee card to the legend ability, because it makes a token copy of Slimefoot and Squee. You make 2 saplings. Your original one dies and goes back to the graveyard where it came from, and now you have a copy of Slimefoot and Squee that will just legend rule your Slimefoot and Squee commander back to the graveyard every time it comes in.
That's dumb.
How cool is that?
Pair off some haste and like Insidious Roots, and now your like saplings can tap the mana to
just keep this thing flowing back, and then you just
recurring nightmare over and over again.
The thing that I hated about that deck was that it felt like there was too many moving pieces, where I needed a sacrifice outlet, and I needed my commander in the graveyard, and I needed good reanimator pieces. So things like Twilight Diviner and that legend rule interaction just shaves down the need for a sacrifice outlet, because I don't want to sacrifice anything else. I just want to get rid of my commander. So being able to constantly like bring this back, and he's straight back into the graveyard, no one has any chance to respond, is so clutch because the trigger would go on the stack and then it would die to the legend rule. So he's gone before anybody has priority and goes back to the graveyard. So, God, what a clutch card. Twilight Diviner, I think, is going to go in a ton of strategies. The Murko Obsessive Theorist that cares about surveilling and reanimates things on the end step. This just is a new staple in that deck. But dude, I feel like Lorwyn, as we wrap up here, they've managed to create a set that just works. This feels like a set both for people who played OG Lorwyn and also is approachable for people who are new to Magic, to introduce them to this incredible plane.
I've gone on record multiple times before that if you're teaching anybody the ropes on when it comes to constructing a deck, regardless of what type of deck that's going to be, trying to construct them and play with them something new on either a jump start mashup, you're doing like 40 card, that somebody has made their first 60 card constructed from tabletop, or they're looking to build their first commander deck. Kindred theme is some of the easiest way to introduce somebody on not only what that creature type in the realm of Magic does, but also from within their colors, right? Like you tell somebody that, blue-white merfolk is all about these evasive, cheap little creatures that also plays around with combat evasion and counter spells or whatever. That not only teaches them about how merfolk work, but also the fundamentals of blue and white.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the impact that this set has. We're starting the year off strong, I will say, for 2026 Magic. I know we've got some universes beyond that people have different feelings about coming up throughout the year, but to start the year and really settle in on such a very lovingly crafted set like Lorwyn Eclipsed it's a lovely place to be. It's felt great.
I couldn't agree more. And we now then, from there, we'd like to hear from all of you. What are your thoughts about Lorwyn Eclipsed? I know probably at the time you are listening to this, as soon as it goes live, you probably would have already participated in your pre-release. So we'd love to hear from you about how that went, how your cards ended up being, what kind of stuff did you enjoy playing from this set? Let us know all about it down in the comment section down below, where you can also find all of those favorite YouTube buttons or Spotify buttons. We hear and see you out there. That's right. We love you too. Thank you for being here. Let us know everything about it that you love about this set.
Yeah, any cards that we missed, any cards that you want to talk about, let us know in the comments. You can, like John said, you can join our Discord down below as well. Drop all of those notes to us there. If you want to find us on social media, you can find us on Blue Sky. It's at mtgthoughtcast.bsky.social. Our individuals are linked there as well. Or you can email us at mtgthoughtcast@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll see you so soon for some more Lorwyn goodness. This has been the MTG Thoughtcast. Thanks for watching.